decentralized. Because you cannot shut it down. It's literally like the internet right now. The Pandora's box has been opened, and now it's like, how do you shut it down? You can't, because there's no off switch. You cannot turn off the internet right now, unless we had like a solar flare or something where electricity just got fucked, right?
Gotcha.
But as far as what Bitcoin is, you cannot turn it off. It just is now. And so it's a money that for the first time in human history has not had to ask for permission to exist from our government. Because PayPal tried to do that originally. They wanted to create their own money, and the government shut them down. They were like, no, screw you. We're not giving up control.
Why did that not work, but crypto is?
Because the government can shut down a company or a CEO and throw them in jail. A company has to...
Cryptocurrency has no...
It has no owner. It has no central point of failure. That's why they say it's decentralized.
We don't know who invented Bitcoin.
Not really.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
We have the
I
nickname.
hear this name. Who's this guy?
So this Satoshi Nakamoto, which was... So the whole crypto network was launched in 2009, right? And it was under the pseudonym, this fake name of Satoshi Nakamoto. But we think it's either a dude or a group of people that were really smart that just put this together. There's a few identities who we think he is, but you can just Google it and you'll find who they are. Okay. But it's like really debated and contested.
So then who's this guy?
So that's a dude who I think people thought it was. Dorian, yeah. He's a dude who lives in California, I think, actually.
You think they all start going up there like, Satoshi, thank you so much. He's like, dude, I just mow people's lawns.
Somebody,
my name's Fred.
Who are you guys?
Dude, somebody literally asked that guy, I was like, are you Satoshi Nakamoto? And he's like, I'm not involved in that project. I haven't been in a while. And apparently he was like a government contractor. And so when this came out publicly and the media just like attacked him, they're like, holy shit, are you Satoshi? He's like, no, I misunderstood the question. He's like, I thought you were talking to me about my government secret projects. No, I wasn't talking about that. So he totally denied it. And then something happened with Bitcoin where on some website that hadn't been active for forever was like, I am not Dorian Nakamoto. So it's like whoever's behind it was like, no, the guy's not it.
This is all scary.
Or that was him just being like, I need
or
these
it
guys
could
to go.
literally it could have been that.
We interrupt this program to bring you a word from our sponsors. Every new year, all you hear is new year, new me. That usually means you'll be picking up better habits or trying new things. And if you take up a new hobby, it's even better when you have amazing audio that will make the experience even better. That's why I recommend wireless earbuds from Raycon. Whether it's following along to directions in the kitchen, bringing an audiobook while learning to knit, or powering through a new workout with a pumped up playlist in your ear, a pair of Raycons can make any activity easier and a better time. Raycon makes great sound accessible to everyone. Their wireless earbuds start at about half the price of other premium audio brands. And guess what? If you're thinking about having white stems dangling out of your ears, if you think that looks ridiculous, that's something you don't have to worry about with Raycons. They come in a range of stylish colorways, but also with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look. And they don't just look great. Raycons perform wherever you take them with up to 6 hours of playtime, water and sweat resistant construction, and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. You've heard me say this before, so if you still don't have a pair of Raycons, I really got to wonder why. Raycon's offering 50% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what you got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Logan. That's it. You get 15% off your entire Raycon order, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare. 15% off at buyraycon.com/Logan. Back to the program.
I have a question for you. Now you're saying that it's controlled by the people.
Yeah.
What happens when like taxes get involved? Because like the only thing that I'm sure of is I pay taxes and I'm gonna die.
Right.
So like, at what point is the government's gonna get involved and be like,
dude, taxes?
that's the only two. Like, you know what I mean? Like even religious people are like,
dude, taxes and Bitcoin are the best thing ever because the way our taxes work right now is we have no real say over where our tax money goes. And so imagine with the use of blockchain, which we'll get into in a second, like what that is. But I guess we can get into it now. So how blockchain works, right? So Bitcoin is based on something called blockchain technology, which is basically like, so imagine if you sent me a Bitcoin or I sent you one, right? Our little transaction gets put into what's called a block.
A ledger?
Yeah, but imagine like a Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
Like literally a Rubik's Cube, right? Yeah. But it's a small size. It can only fit so many little transactions before there's a new block that has to be made. But so all these transactions fit inside this Rubik's Cube, and you as a miner who has basically this person with a computer who's solving these equations, right? And the reason you're incentivized to do that is because once you solve the little Rubik's Cube, those transactions that you and I had sent between each other, they get confirmed or like verified.
Yep.
They're official. And that's every 10 minutes that these Rubik's Cubes get solved. And then they move on to the next block. These blocks are 1 megabyte in size. So they can only contain so many transactions before we have to move on to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one. And so that's how our transactions get verified. And so anyone can participate in the network and be a miner and try to solve these. And whoever's computer is more powerful, they get the majority of the reward.
So, okay, so stop right there with that statement.
Okay. Does that make sense? Does everything make sense?
No, but yes.
Okay.
Let's make
Well,
believe
yes,
it
but
does.
no.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't understand it at all, because even if everything was Bitcoin now, I still think in my experience with money, whoever has the most of it is in control.
Well, hold on. So I haven't got to the tax part yet. So okay, so it's decentralized in a way where everyone can participate in the network, right? It's kind of like torrenting, where like when you torrent a movie, not one real person really has the whole movie. It's like it's taking bits and pieces from everybody.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so Bitcoin has this like public ledger that you said, where every transaction and any action that happens on the blockchain is recorded on a public ledger that anyone can see what's going on. So the governments actually love Bitcoin because it's what's called pseudo-anonymous. It's not really anonymous, meaning if the government wanted to track what you were doing, they could. They could see where the code is going, into which wallet, right? So it's pseudo-anonymous. The beautiful part about that, though, is if we transitioned our tax system onto the blockchain, we would literally see where our governments moved money.
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Imagine like senators, like the Georgia Senate runoff elections we just had, where we could track, hey, where does this dude get his money from? Which companies? How much?
This is all just, there's a lot, we've just talked about so much. I just want to slow down for a second. This is all very scary stuff.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, and I agree with you, but you made a statement that was whoever has the most powerful computer controls the most, whatever, or this whole idea that cryptocurrency is decentralized and sticks it back to the powers that be.
Right.
What if all of the magicians, torrent nerds, Redditors, all of these people work for 10 years, 20 years to create a perfect new global currency, only to have government pass one law that says, yo, that's all ours now.
That's the beautiful part.
I get it, and I know, and this is just me playing advocate here.
No, I got a great answer for that.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the answer to that question is no government can ban it successfully, because where one country fails at accepting it, if the US is like, fuck crypto, you're going to go to jail. Switzerland is going to be like, come right on in.
I'm not as worried about
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why? Because they want their businesses to be built in that country. They're like, oh, economic power, more for us. Great. You fucked up the opportunity. Now we're going to build it in our country. So the whole world cannot systematically ban it, because where one country doesn't want it, 10 others will be like, please come to us.
What about when the entire ecosystem becomes decentralized,
right?
Where that money is equal in weight in any country, and now now you have a ban that is a global ban, essentially.
It won't happen. Countries compete with each other for economic dominance. And so one country, if they ban it, another country will be like, well, if you don't want these trillions of potential dollars of business growth, we'll have it.
Okay.
So it'll never happen.
What about just taking them?
They can't take them. As long as you have your private key, which is this string of numbers, which you could literally memorize in your head. I mean, it'd be really hard to, but you write them down on a piece of paper, you hide them somewhere. And as long as you have that number, there is no physical wallet that you could have that if you lost or was destroyed, that you couldn't recover your Bitcoin from the blockchain.
Got it.
What about hackers?
And what happens if you lose that number, or that number?
Then
gets
it's gone
compromised?
forever. Yeah.
This
the
could really fucking murder you. I got it.
Wait. so the solution to that we're working on right now, and by we, I don't mean like me and my team.
Yeah.
I don't mean like we, but like people that are way smarter than me. They're working on biometric identification, right?
Okay.
It's like your thumbprint.
Oh,
right?
Cool.
So it's like it'll be attached to your identity somehow.
Okay.
So instead of a long ass string of numbers, it'll be like, yeah, just put your thumb right here.
Yeah, because I know some people who have gotten fucked.
Yeah,
they lost their
Yes.
key
Or hacked. Like,
or
I'm looking at-
compromised via some sort of.
So there's a difference between leaving your money on the blockchain and leaving your money on an exchange like Coinbase or Gemini.
Okay.
Because hackers can hack the exchanges, but they can't hack blockchain. They've tried for 12 years now. 13 years almost.
Give it time.
There is literally hundreds of billions of dollars at stake. That is the biggest honeypot we've ever had ever, and they've not been able to crack it.
You don't think they'll figure out a way? And
one 11-year-old.
There's only one way that we can crack it right now, and that is quantum computing, which we don't have. It's like perpetually 10 years away.
But that's what I'm just getting at. It's like it's perpetually 10 years away, but like eventually it won't be. Eventually quantum computing will happen.
But there's a solution for that too, for Bitcoin. Like there's literally a backup plan. You know what it is?
No.
You've heard of it. You've heard of it. I'm sure you've heard of it. It happened in 2017.
Entering the Dyson sphere.
Type 3.
Type 3.
It splits. The chain splits.
Halving.
Not the halvening, no.
You split the blockchain.
You split the blockchain into two different coins, where one path is the hacked one, which is the original. What we have right now is called the SHA-256 cryptographic algorithm.
Holy shit.
That's like the security that backs Bitcoin, right? So it would split into two separate chains, where one of them would be the one that was quantum hacked, and the other one could be based on a completely new set of cryptographic rules that is not quantum computing hackable, which is completely different, based on like different mathematics. Like
who initiates the split?
It's the miners. So remember that those people that like solve the Rubik's Cube? Basically, it's the equivalent of them saying like, fuck these Rubik's Cubes. Let's go to these other ones right here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you own one, or let's say 10 Bitcoin on one chain and it splits, you will own 10 on both.
Whoa.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
And then there will just be a drop in
And there will be a consensus. Value. Yeah, probably that one will like lose value.
Yeah.
But the consensus model will go with the new chain that is still functional.
Gotcha.
So it's like it can't really be destroyed, because when one gets destroyed, it splits into a different one. And so the natural next question that people ask is like, well, why can't you just like copy the chain? Like what happens, what stops the government or anyone else just copying the code of Bitcoin because it's public? Like why can't we make a duplicate of Bitcoin?
Right.
And the reason we can't is because Bitcoin is not just the code itself. It is what's called a network effect. Those are all the businesses that are built on it, all the miners, all the people that are involved. You can't replicate that. You can't copy paste that. You can copy paste the code, but all the support and the infrastructure that is running Bitcoin cannot be replicated by a copy paste job.
At the high like seriousness, it's not that wild of a pipe dream to imagine that this could actually take place. Like when you look at what's actually backing the US dollar, which is so important to people, and they spend their entire lives trying to buy houses with the US dollar, buy cars with the US dollar. The US dollar is a piece of paper. It's backed by nothing but trillions of dollars of debt. So there's nothing there.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it very much is becoming more and more believable that this actually can take place. But what it does, the byproduct of this actually happening, is the destruction of the elite. And I am just so curious to see how that happens and how
it's
that
already
goes.
happened.
And I know I get
so
that.
many times, right?
Right.
In history, we've had a transformation from, like, we've used resources like gems and seashells, and then it was like, all right, cool, let's move on to something else. I found this thing called gold, and everyone's like, all right, that's the new thing. So if you had gold, you were the next transfer of wealth goes to you. After that, we had oil, right?
But didn't it seem like a lot of the people with the most gems, their kids ended up with the most gold, and their kids ended up with the most oil?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what
There's
I'm saying?
always
So like
that,
at the end of the day, it's all generational anyways. Like you've got
in some
white kids,
respects.
you've got white kids in Greenwich right now, Connecticut, that are pumping bank accounts crypto wallets, whatever, filled with coins, so that in 120 years their kids are going to Yale. You know what I'm saying?
For
and
sure.
so it's still
nepotism. Yeah, for sure. That's always gonna be around.
One thing that's in my mind is that when you said like knowing where a politician moves his money or
transparency.
What I'm saying is I don't know if that necessarily would work, just because I believe every country is built off of a lot of dirty money, and I don't think they're gonna want to expose what they're actually doing.
Well, he's saying they don't have a choice.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to let that happen. And that's what I mean. I don't think a country's going to do that, because they might want the money and power, but if it's going to flip the switch on them where they don't have a say on things, like that's where people go, okay, do I want money or power? And a lot of people want power. Money is just a vehicle to give you power. Right. So if you're going to trade in power for money, it's pointless in their eyes.
I get what you're saying, but in some ways they just don't have a choice where technology is going.
Right.
At some point, the reason that the government can't just get rid of it is because it's about to become so relevant with the way that we use it every day that these politicians that we think are going to ban it, they're going to be like, wait, I can't ban that shit. I use it myself.
Does
that make sense?
Does the idea of those people that were always looked at as the enemy embracing the project scare you? You know what I'm saying? Like all the people that you're like, yo, these are the guys that we're trying to drain. All of a sudden they're like, Bitcoin. You're always welcome here, guys. Come on into the Senate. Let's talk about it. Like, does that scare the people that created this and getting in bed with the enemy?
Because I think they're completely clueless as to what Bitcoin really is about. Right now, all it is for most people is it's like, it goes up in value and I got rich, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is. But behind that, it's the most powerful tool that humanity has ever gotten. And they don't understand that yet.
Damn.
They don't get it.
Wow.
I have one more question for you.
So.
Well, you probably could do more even because we got some time.
Yeah, we got time.
Maybe.
Nope, I only have one and that's it.
And then I'm out.
And I'm out leaving right after this question. I'm not even gonna listen to your answer. My question is, what happens when the government's like, okay, cool, this is like actually in effect and it's moving. Fuck Bitcoin. We're gonna bring all the brightest minds in the world to invent something equally as great as that.
Right.
But it's gonna be under our control. And
they're doing that. They're literally doing that right now. And it's not working.
Is it a coin or is
It's
it
not
it's a blockchain?
It's hilarious because that's why I'm saying they don't get it, because they are trying to recreate the wheel, but instead of creating a wheel, they're like making it the most fucking complicated thing ever. So blockchain only works if it's going to be a decentralized kind of a thing. So what corporations are doing, they're like, guys, we restructured our banking system on the blockchain. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? You already have a database to do it for you. Why would you want to complicate it with a blockchain? It doesn't make sense to have a decentralized, centralized tech. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. It doesn't work. And so when they're like, we're advanced, guys, we get it. Come to us. We're advanced tech. It's like, dude, you missed the point.
Right.
It's not about having your database be decentralized because you fucking own it. You control it. That is not decentralized. By definition, it is not blockchain.
What about the?
I'd like to
absolutely.
just let me chime in.
Same
here,
time
please. Yeah. There's so much to unpack here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I want to try to understand exactly